I hadn't planned to be home that afternoon. Fate apparently had other ideas. The roads had been unusually clear, an effortless commute I used to call luck. Now I call nothing lucky, only signs, only warnings. As soon as I stepped through the front door, laughter floated from the corridor. My parents, my brothers and her, my sister-in-law, the woman who used to press quick kisses to my cheek at gatherings as if I were adored, were all in the house. I followed their voices down the hall until I reached my bedroom. The door hung open. A ladder stood in the center, sheets and drop cloths puddled across the floor. She was there with a paint roller, the bristles streaking fresh color across the wall I'd paid for. Paint dribbled onto the floor as she turned, startled for a beat before forcing a smile so bright it looked rehearsed. "We're getting it ready before we move in," she said, her voice too bubbly. My brother lounged against the frame like it was nothing. My parents snickered behind them, treating the scene like a light-hearted family antic. My house, my name on the mortgage, my savings. To them it was entertainment. In that instant something inside me snapped. These were the people I had trusted. The brother I'd shielded as a kid, the one I'd lent money to when his bills piled up, the parents I thought would always back me, and her who had promised me she'd treat my home as her own until they found their place. I believed them. That was the mistake. The clues had been there all along. Mail that disappeared. Her little jabs about me, taking up space, living alone. My brother bringing in contractors and calling it helpful advice. Then one night I found paperwork on my own kitchen counter. Transfer forms typed and ready, unsigned but complete, with my parents listed as witnesses. They weren't just repainting my room. They were preparing to write me out of it. I didn't rage. I didn't create a scene. I smiled, nodded, and let them go on with their brushes and their easy laughter. Shouting would only fuel the betrayal. Silence would consume it. I went straight to an attorney. I assembled every piece of evidence. Titles, receipts, bank statements, the loan I'd given my brother that was never repaid. I traced renovations carried out under my account. Fraud. Collusion. Slowly, methodically, I constructed an unbreakable record. I filed complaints with the police, informed the bank, and sat with my lawyer until every I was dotted and every T crossed. My ownership became indisputable. Then I set the final move into motion. I invited my parents for dinner. Naturally, my brother and his wife came too, arriving breezy and confident, entirely convinced they'd won. They had no idea that while they sat at my table, officers were sweeping through their home across town, pulling down folders and emails, uncovering forged signatures and the receipts she had stupidly sent to herself. After dessert came a knock. A uniformed officer entered, composed and professional. "Sir, may we have a word in private?" he asked. My parents went pale. My sister-in-law's smile faded into bewilderment. My brother froze. They assumed whatever news was coming would be about me. That's the twisted grace of betrayal. The betrayed always expects the fall to land on them. When the officer spoke their names and read out the charges, fraud, conspiracy, the air drained from the room. My mother's voice fractured into a whisper. "Why are the police here for us?" I leaned back in my chair, colder than I'd ever been. "Because you tried to erase me from my own life." My brother stuttered. His wife collapsed into tears, denying everything, begging for mercy. My father couldn't meet my gaze. One by one they were led away, hands secured, the house emptying of the people I once trusted. The house settled into a hush. Mine again. I didn't throw a party. There were no fireworks. Revenge wasn't spectacle. It was quiet and precise. It was seeing with my own eyes the same hands that reached for me now closed in steel. They had thought I was soft because I kept my voice low. They had thought me naive because I'd trusted them. I had learned something they never had. Betrayal can be answered with strategy, not screams. Now, when I pass the newly painted wall in my bedroom, I smile. Not because of the shade but because I chose it. And no one, not those who schemed, not those who promised, not anyone, will ever take that from me.